Evening, everyone. Happy New Year's Eve, and I am so happy that it's New Year's. I feel like New Year's, especially New Year's Eve, is a really interesting holiday because I feel like it's the holiday that really does bring sort of the world together and to sort of look back and also look forward. And it's just one of those holidays that I cannot not help enjoy, especially when you've known that it's been such a long time to go through whatever within the year, and to finally realize that it's all over. It's every year it just blows my mind how fast the time goes. So without further ado, I thought I would discuss some songs that I feel are songs that I like to listen to around this time of year, around this holiday. So without further ado, let me list them off. And the first one I wanted to briefly discuss is called Auld Lang Syne, and yes, this is probably one that a lot of people know, but I really like this song, and whenever it plays, even if they don't even play the lyrics, if they just play the melody, I already start having this sense within me to sort of just hum along, and I think it's a really interesting song, even though it is really old-fashioned. It actually wasn't a song at first. It was actually a Scottish poem written by Robert Burns in 1788, and basically Auld Lang Syne means old long since or long long ago. So it's kind of a song that's sort of based on the idea of looking back at all the times, you know, that you've had that were fun and that were interesting, and just kind of reflecting. And I can totally see why a lot of people would really enjoy this song, and why a lot of people feel this song to be very reflective of what New Year's sort of stands for. So I really enjoy the song, even though I'm sure everybody maybe gets tired of hearing it every year. But even though it might be also associated a little bit with Christmas, I still feel overall the message of the song is relatively based on the idea of looking at the times that were before and sort of having a sense of reflection. So I think that that's why this song in particular stood out to me as one of the songs that I like to listen to around New Year's time. So without further ado, let me discuss the next song, which is Imagine by John Lennon. And yes, I'm sure if you watch the ball drop in New York, you're gonna hear this song. It's been played pretty much, I think, every year. There might have been some people have done maybe some covers of them, because you know how there's performers in like New York, so they might like actually cover the song instead of playing the original. I really like when they just stick with playing the original, because I really love John Lennon's version. Now Imagine is sort of different than Auld Lang Syne, because it's not really about looking to the past, it's more about looking to the future and imagining what can happen tomorrow, what can happen the next year. And I feel like that's why a lot of people really resonate with this song and feel like it's somehow attached to New Year's and around this time of year. So I think it's soft melody, it's sort of kind of graceful sort of tone, even though there are at times where you like listen to the lyrics and you go, oh yeah, that's depressing that we don't have this yet, or you know, it's even though it is sort of a dreamlike song, and you listen to lyrics and you think, maybe it could happen one day, but I don't think this coming year, even though it's a little bit maybe too irrational of a dream, of an idea, it's still something that we should, I think about. And I think that overall it's a good song to have and to listen to around this time of year, because it sort of um, captures the importance of imagining for better days, and imagining for a better world, because that's really how we should always think. That's how I think a lot of people's mindsets are during New Year's time. Is just, it's about reaching out for new things and dreaming even more and innovating even more. So it has that foundation to it, and I think it's really worth listening to this time of year. Now, the next song I'm going to be discussing is actually not as traditional as a lot of New Year's songs, and this is actually called New Year's Day by U2, and I think a lot of people like to play this song around this time of year. And the interesting thing is it's not really about past or present or time necessarily, as it's just about, in particular, the Polish Solidarity movement, according to U2. Originally it was supposed to be kind of like a love song, but then I guess they changed it to this issue. And basically the kind of ironic thing is that Polish ended up abolishing martial law in 1983 on New Year's Day. So ironically, it kind of fits in with what U2 is talking about within the song. But I think the interesting thing is it's kind of a revolutionary song. It's very epic and drawn out. It's not really as graceful or peaceful as the other two. It seems to be more in your face. And I think it works because it's thinking, yeah, we should be looking for the future and, kind of like thinking about things, but I think it's also about kind of taking action on those things and saying that if we're going to do something, we're going to do it. So it has that kind of, I think, power and weight to it, regardless of what the song is actually about. I think it's interesting how they're discussing sort of like this kind of revolution, and I think that's within a lot of U2 songs. You will see a lot of the times it's about standing up from being oppressed and revolution. And I think we can make small revolutions within our lives. We can kind of stand up for ourselves and figure out things, and and kind of don't back down on what your goals are. So it's a very powerhouse kind of New Year's song. It's not like the other two that are very, dreamlike and, just relaxing and soothing. This one has this kind of oomph to it, and I feel like a lot of people can sort of get behind that, and maybe some people won't, but that's kind of my reasoning behind choosing this song. And then another song that I wanted to briefly talk about is called What Are You Doing on New Year's Eve by Ella Fitzgerald. And I like how it has that kind of jazz smoothie style, and again, it is kind of relaxing and soothing like the first two. But unlike the first two, it has an interesting topic within the song, and basically it's sort of about a woman who's trying to look for a man on New Year's Eve, and it's kind of going through of her sort of mindset, and it's kind of interesting because I guess New Year's can be considered kind of a more romantic holiday, and maybe Christmas is more family oriented. So I can understand why this would be more associated for being kind of a New Year's Eve type song. And I just find it to be fairly simple but interesting because it has that kind of jazz style, and Ella's voice is also really nice, and she gives a kind of power to it, but in a very but in a very subdued and and sensual way. to where it's not like U2 where it's a powerhouse of oomph. It's very subdued, and it just has that interesting sound to it compared to the other songs that I've discussed. So I think it's definitely worth recommending if you want to listen to some jazzy music on New Year's Eve. So the last song I wanted to briefly discuss doesn't really ultimately have anything really to do with New Year's, but I still like listening to this song during New Year's time because it has this kind of a sincere message and a very genuine sort of heart to it. And this song is called Give a Little Bit by Supertramp, and I personally like their version the best, but basically the song is sort of discussing, giving back and showing that you care, and trying to do things for other people, and trying to be really involved in other people's lives, and just show people what you can offer. And that's why I feel, and I feel that's really identifiable, especially during this time of year when we're kind of looking back, but at the same time looking forward into the idea of maybe giving a little bit more to our lives and to each other, and trying to create again the kind of world that John Lennon sort of described and imagined. So it's I think it just plays itself out a little bit more, I guess, realistically than Imagine, where Imagine's talking about just various things that that had not happened yet, whereas this song just kind of discusses and sort of tells the audience, just give a little bit, give a little bit of your time, just do things, and you will find that to be very rewarding. And I think a lot of people can identify with that, especially around this time of year when you're looking at the things that maybe you haven't done or that you can improve upon from the last year. And it's all about giving a little bit of more of yourself, more of your time, more of your energy, more of what you can offer. And I think that this song kind of encompasses that idea, and I think does it really well. So I'll be sure to put links below to all the songs so you can all listen to them. But I think ultimately that's really all I can say. If there are any questions, comments, concerns, more than happy to answer them. But until next time, everybody. Until next year, actually. Bye-bye.